All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
This is the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Good morning. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with my husband, fellow realtor, Pat Devaney.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you today?
Excellent. How are you?
Good.
Okay, we have with us for the second week in a row, Dawn Hanson, licensed public adjuster with the Hanson Group. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here with us. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. discussing real estate. We have a full-time real estate office with many relentless realtors. We've been advising, assisting, and guiding clients in real estate matters for 50 years.
50 years? Oh, my God. During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you're at jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab and get a live view of Dunmore Corners. We get thousands of hits a month on that camera.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. View our listings, search the MLS listings, and listen to archive radio shows by going to mobile-friendly jruddy.com, jruddy.com.
And all of our archive radio shows aren't there. Some of them didn't make the cut, but Dawn, yours is there. So you can go back and listen to an old one.
Almost 3 years to the date you were here before. So thanks for coming back with us. Dawn Hanson, licensed public adjuster with the Hanson Group. What is a public adjuster? Who are you and what do you do, Dawn?
Okay, so a public adjuster is someone who helps the public. We are assisting home and business owners when they have an insurance claim. This is homeowners or business insurance. We don't deal with auto or anything like that, so just to clarify that. But yeah, if they have an insurance claim, we can come in at any point in time. We can be the first point of contact. We can come in, while they're in the middle of dealing with a claim, or even after they think that the claim is done, we can reopen that claim. But what we do is we take over the process for them. We make sure they're paid properly. So we have people scheduling appointments, writing letters, phone calls, negotiations, all that kind of thing. We're doing what we need to do to make sure that the client is paid properly for their insurance claim, because all too often the client's getting pennies on the dollar for what they should be getting for the damage that they have. And one thing I always like to say is, I wish that public adjusters didn't exist, because that would mean that the insurance companies were paying people properly. But unfortunately, public adjusters have been around for 30 plus years.
So what's the average? Go ahead, hit me with the average.
So average increase of when a public adjuster, helps a client is about 574%. And
574%.
574%. That was
more. I get 574% more money than if I did it on my own.
Yes, and that was a study that was done, but I've done my own, study, so to speak. I've put a chart together of all the claims I've done in this area over the last 5 years that I've been doing this, and it does line up with those numbers. So, yeah. So it's definitely worth getting someone involved if you feel like you're not getting paid what you should be. And even sometimes if you do think that you're getting paid, there's probably more that should be paid out. But the main thing is making sure the client is okay with their settlement. So,
well, I'm sure this is not charity work for you as much as you want people to get 5 to 6 times what their insurance company is paying out. How do you get paid?
That's what I love the most, is that we get paid on a contingency fee. So we only get paid if we're able to get the client paid. In the event that we step in once an insurance check is already issued, which is most often the case, because that's when people realize that the insurance company is not paying properly, is when they get that estimate and they get their check and they realize this is not enough to make the repairs that I need. At that point, we step in. We only take a percentage of what we're able to get, anything above and beyond what they've already gotten. So if they got a check for $5,000 and we step in, anything that we get in addition to that is what our fee comes off. It is a percentage. It depends on the severity of the claim, the percentage that we charge. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we work on contingency is one of the big things that I love, because if we don't get them any additional fees or any additional monies, then they don't owe us anything. We could have done, tons of work, and for whatever reason, it doesn't happen often, but, there are times where we're just not able to help someone get additional money, and in that case, they do not owe us anything. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for that explanation, because it could be confusing.
It can.
Ideally, when would you like to see someone call you? At what point?
The way that we would be able to get the best result is if we're first in, but most people are looking to, most people think that the insurance company is going to pay them what they should get. And I'm not going to say that there aren't times where that happens. I think that it really depends on the insurance adjuster that you get. Some are more fair than others. Some are not fair at all. So it depends on what adjuster you get. It's not even so much the insurance company as much as it is the insurance adjuster that you're dealing with. So there are cases where, you may feel that they paid fairly, but most times we get a phone call once the insurance company gives the client their estimate, and the client goes out and gets contractor estimates and realizes that those two numbers are not lining up, and the insurance company is only giving them a fraction of what the contractor is saying it costs to replace everything and repair everything. So more often than not, that's when we get called in. But as I mentioned before, we can come in at any point in time. It is a little bit more work and a little more challenging when we step in after the claim is already in the process, but we are still able to be very successful in those situations. It just may take a little bit more time and more work to make sure that it's paid properly, but we do an excellent job with that.
Do you work with auto insurance?
We do not. No, I've been asked that before, and unfortunately, I cannot help you with your auto claim. But, homeowners, renters insurance, business insurance, the contents within, even business interruption, that type of thing. We do not handle any liability portion of the claims, though. So it's just strictly the property, your loss of use, different things like that, additional living expenses. That's all part of your policy. People don't even realize they have that stuff. So
we had a tree go down next to my mother-in-law's house, and the neighbor had damage, and she says, "Oh, I've been with this insurance company for 30 years and I never had a claim." And she was not happy at all with what the insurance adjuster was willing to pay. Their deck was obviously damaged. It was crushed and moved. He goes, "Oh, they don't want to give us anything for that." And she was not happy. I think she did go with the public adjuster afterwards because she was getting nowhere.
Yeah.
She was getting, like you said, I'm a loyal customer for 30 years and I have no claims. They're going to pay me everything. Yeah. They don't. They don't want to part with a dollar.
They wanted to depreciate the 1 week old fence.
The 1 week old fence. The fence was 1 week. They says we have to depreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you there was some choice words in that conversation.
Yeah, and I've heard that. I can't even tell you. I would probably be rich if I had like $1 for every time I heard someone say, "I've been with the company for 20 plus years, or 10 plus years, 30, 40 years, whatever the case may be. I pay my premium every year or every month on time. How is it that they're not giving me a proper settlement?" I wish I had an answer. All I can tell them, I can't tell you why they didn't give you a proper settlement, but I can help you get a proper settlement. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I hear all the time.
So does involving you prolong the process?
It doesn't really prolong the process. Getting paid properly is a process in itself. So even if you were to try to do it yourself and try to get a proper settlement yourself, it's a back and forth fight, it's a back and forth negotiation. So, you can have the insurance adjuster come out, they could cut you a check, in a week. But does that mean that that's the right amount that you should be getting paid? And it doesn't mean that you should, you can still take that check and you can deposit it as long as you don't sign anything saying that this is all that I'm going to get. Because I think that's what a lot of people are afraid to deposit the check because they know that it's not what they should be getting. And they think if I accept this, that means I'm not able to get any more. And that's usually not the case. So we're still able to get additional monies, and more often than not, there are several checks that are issued because of all the back and forth. So once we step in, it doesn't mean that they're going to say, oh, they have a public adjuster, let's pay them what they should get. That's not it. That's not how this works. I wish it was, but it's not. So it is a back and forth, and there's so many different factors that come into play as far as the time frame goes, where we have to schedule appointments. Well, what's the insurance adjuster's availability? What's their likelihood to get back to us when we're reaching out to them, on a weekly basis or even every other day, trying to schedule an appointment, and a month later we still haven't heard back. We have to escalate now to a supervisor, things like that. There's so many different things like that can delay. Once the adjusters meet, my field adjuster and the insurance adjuster meet together, and they have to exchange their estimates and then review the estimates and get back, with each other. And so it's a lot of time spent back and forth, and again, it depends on how quickly they respond to us, because we're following up on a regular basis. Like I said, we don't get paid until we get the client paid. So there's no reason for us to delay on our end. We want to make sure that things keep moving smoothly and as quickly as possible so the client can get back to pre-loss condition.
Realizing that every claim is different, and of course depends on the severity of the loss, are we looking at an average time frame?
I mean, most times when people are calling us, they're already 2-3 months into it, because they start the process thinking that they're going to be paid properly. After a month, they start getting a little bit antsy. So once we step in, then it could be another 3 months. It could be 1 month if we're lucky. It could be 6 months. It really depends. And then the mortgage company gets involved when checks are issued over a certain amount. Depending on the amount and depending on the bank, they can monitor the claim, so they can require all the contractor documents. They can almost do like a construction loan type of thing, where they issue half of the settlement, and then they come out and inspect, and then they give you the rest. So it's such a process. And if you've never had to deal with it, then you're lucky. But just so it's stuff that you should be aware of. So I like to kind of tell everybody, anyone that calls, I kind of give them that all up front, and all the things that can potentially happen, and just so they know what to expect.
Well, you want to manage expectations too, because
Absolutely.
I know in this world everybody wants everything instantly, but that doesn't sound like it could or would happen that way.
No, it can't. And what gets most frustrating, I think, for people is they want to just fix everything right away. And unfortunately, in order for us to be able to get the best settlement for them, things need to stay just a minimal repair. So, if you have water leaking in your roof, put a tarp on it, and until the adjusters have met and it's safe to move forward with that repair, it's best to just leave it like that. Although, it's hard to do because people get so anxious and they just want to get it fixed. But in order for us to be able to get the best settlement, and the insurance company can request to come back out at any point in time, it's hard to show them what they missed if it's already fixed. And the pictures aren't going to be, good enough. It's not as good as my adjuster being there with the insurance adjuster, pointing out this needs to be paid because of this, and they're seeing it firsthand. So we always recommend, if you do have damage, you do need to, do your duties as the policyholder to make sure that no further damage occurs. But you want to make sure you do minimal cleanup. You still want to be able to live and all that kind of stuff, obviously, if you have to get mitigation involved and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a frustrating process.
What a mess.
To say the least.
What a mess. Yeah. I'm one of those people that want it fixed immediately,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, dear. You got that right. So this process is not like Amazon Prime. I order and then the next day it's fixed, right?
Right? Oh, one could hope, but no.
No. Yeah, but what do I do if a tree falls on my house?
Well, you can have someone come out and clean up the tree. I mean, I always recommend when damage happens, the first thing you want to do, obviously most people think you get on the phone with your insurance company, and that's all fine. But you want to take pictures, document everything. Take pictures before the tree is removed. Take pictures after the tree is removed. Save all of your invoices, any correspondence that you have. If you do choose to, try to go the claim alone in the beginning, which most people do, just document everything. Like I said, any out-of-pocket expenses. Not everything is going to be covered, but if you put a tarp over your roof to prevent further damage, that is something that will be reimbursed. The cost of that would be reimbursed by the insurance company, because not everybody, is okay with climbing on the roof and doing it themselves. So they likely would have to have, call a roofing company or someone to come out and do that. But that is stuff, those types of things is to make sure that no further damage happens. It's necessary. And if you don't do that and more damage happens, then the insurance company can deny your claim.
Ugh.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen.
No.
Dawn Hanson, licensed public adjuster with the Hanson Group. How does someone get in touch with you?
You can reach us by phone at 570-795-4045 or Dawn at thehansongroup.org, and that's HANSEN.
Thank you, Dawn. Pat?
Yes, we have a well-cared-for 2-unit home. It's at 174 East Pine Street in Dunmore for only $125,000. This home, it's been in the same family for almost 50 years, and there is pride in ownership everywhere. It has 2 two-bedroom apartments, and it's got a summer kitchen in the basement. Each unit has separate utilities, including heat and water. It has a lovely covered front concrete porch. It's really nice. Off-street parking and a beautiful backyard. You could live in one unit and have the rent pay your mortgage. That's a 2-family home at 174 East Pine Street in Dunmore for $125,000. That's listed by Aaron Pierce of our office.
Thank you, Pat. You want to know what people have been doing in terms of home improvement projects since COVID?
I can't wait.
All right. This is a recent Porch.com survey found that 76% of homeowners have completed at least one home improvement project since the coronavirus shutdown.
Painting.
78% plan to complete a project over the next year. They
have plans?
They have plans.
Oh, that's nice.
Right.
I got big plans.
The majority of homeowners chose to spend their time and resources outside.
Oh.
Garden landscaping, fixing or adding a lawn, and fixing or replacing windows were the top exterior projects. 58% worked indoors, completing common projects like what you just said, repainting, adding light fixtures, or a kitchen upgrade. The start of the pandemic forced 31% of the respondents to make changes. 11% made changes to work from home. 7% made home changes to help the kids with school. 33% added or planned to add a high-speed internet connection. 17% added or planned to add a home office. A gym, an outdoor pool were other projects completed or on a to-do list. Researchers also found an uptick in environmentally friendly home updates. 14% chose solar panels, 12% installed smart lighting, and 11% started a compost heap or installed eco-friendly appliances. Millennials were the most apt to plan to use more green resources at 56%, followed by 43% of Gen X and 14% of baby boomers.
So I'm a boomer.
You are.
Right. Patrick calls me, you're a boomer. That's what he says. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm out on the compost heap, but everything else sounds okay.
So don't you want to know why now? Aren't you intrigued by why now?
Why now?
Why now? Because people were staying home, right? So they were looking to either add value or make their home feel more cozy. 16% said that they were adapting to a new lifestyle because of COVID-19.
Makes sense. We actually put a fence in, and I'm in the process of painting the outside of our house. Oh, and I just did a retaining wall.
A retaining wall? Oh, good.
Well, a little raised flower bed in front of our porch, but yeah, those are projects I like to be out there.
And we've called 5 contractors and can't get one to our house to do a patio project.
Oh,
so
goodness.
these people that have done these projects are very lucky. They don't realize how lucky they are, do they?
Yeah, well, ours is a big deal we want.
Yeah, it is tough to get contractors to come out.
They're
or
slammed.
respond, yeah, they
Don't
are.
go anywhere. You're listening to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM. The Talker. We'll be right back.
Who are Century 21 agents? They're high-tech gizmo-packing problem solvers with an appetite for getting things done. They know the best places to buy a home, to sell a home, and to find antiques, if you're into that kind of thing. They're weatherproof, foolproof, and proof positive that smart people doing good work can make big things happen for great folks like you. Oh, and there's one nearby. This is who they are. This is what they do. Century 21 agents. Smarter, bolder, faster. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Hi, this is Jackie Ruddy from Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Is real estate on your mind? It's on ours 24/7. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or in need of an appraisal, you have questions, we have answers.
Thinking of buying or selling a house and have questions? Tune in to the Real Estate Roundtable hosted by locally owned and operated Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday mornings at 11:30.
Call 570-344-6724 or visit jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. Welcome back to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, and with Pat Devaney, my fellow realtor, husband.
And we're back.
And we're back with Dawn Hanson, licensed public adjuster with the Hanson Group. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're learning a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How can you get an average of 574% more than I would get on my own? How do you do that?
Because this is all we do. We're not doing other things. We know the policy. We know how the policy is supposed to pay. We know all the little ins and outs and nuances of the policy that most people don't read, and they don't know, that, okay, there's building code upgrades, there's this, there's that, there's different limits to certain things, there's different things that should be paid, there's different things that shouldn't be paid. We know the ins and outs of the policy, and we know what should be paid, from an adjuster perspective. A contractor puts together their estimate based on what they feel needs, how they need to repair it. That doesn't mean necessarily that that's what should be paid. It could be more than that. It could be less than that. As an example, with a roof, which is most often, one of the largest claims, especially we get a lot of wind coming in here. A lot of the older homes, they don't have the sheathing underneath. Code is to...
The sheathing, you mean the sheets of plywood?
The plywood, yes, sorry.
No, that's okay. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah. So the plywood is now, in order to put a new roof on to code, that plywood has to be there. However, if you don't have a building code upgrade endorsement on your policy, the insurance company may not pay to have that portion add there. So that might be something that comes out of pocket.
The city is going to force me to get that plywood.
Yes.
But the insurance company won't pay for the plywood.
Correct. So
Okay.
that's why it's important to review your policy. We can certainly do that, especially for new homeowners. You get in your home, you get your policy in place. Give us a call so we can take a look at your policy, or you can shoot the policy over via email. Look it over. I can make sure that there's nothing missing, or kind of just educate you on what is covered. And, if there's something that you need to adjust, I just say, give your agent a call and see if you can add, a sump pump endorsement, or make sure that you have enough coverage for certain things. Kind of piggybacking off of the projects that are going on, you do have to make sure that you're accounting for those projects, especially the major projects, with your policy. Because if you just redid your kitchen, you just put $50,000 into your kitchen, but your policy isn't up to date with that. So that's something that you need to make sure when you're doing these bigger projects. You have to take a look at what your policy is allowing for, because maybe when you put the policy in place, it's only paying to replace, that 1970s kitchen, and now you have a brand new kitchen with granite countertops and, top of the line appliances and all that kind of stuff. So obviously, you need to make adjustments within your policy for that. And some policies require it, and if you don't add that, or you don't let them know about those things, they can actually not pay you properly for those things. They can deny you coverage for things like that, for not notifying them of those larger projects, and keeping things up to date. So that is important, with everyone doing their projects and stuff like that. Take a look at your policy, what your coverage amount is, and make sure, and even if you're adding, additional structures like a detached garage or a shed or things like that, deck. Well, the deck is part of, if it's attached, then it would be
an extension.
Be part. Yeah, but still, that would be part of your dwelling coverage. But any additional, like if you're adding fences or things like that, that's important to make sure that those are accounted for in your policy.
Here's a quote from a former insurance employee turned critic. Roughly 80% of policyholders accept its damage without seeking an independent opinion. Independent opinion would be you. Mm-hmm. Those 80% get only 25 to 40 cents on the dollar. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at a PowerPoint here that our listeners can't see, and the insurance adjuster comes out, the adjuster that comes out on behalf of the insurance companies and sees what it would take to repair it. But when you're involved, you see a lot more.
Right. So an example of that would be the insurance company gives you an estimate to repair things. And let's say you had water damage and water soaked the bottom half of the drywall. They're going to pay you to repair the bottom half of the drywall. But when that drywall was installed, it was installed in a full piece. So it should go back in a full piece. If you're talking about paint, they may pay to paint one time. Have you ever seen a can of paint that says to only apply one coat? Not usually. So those types of things, we have to make sure that they're paying for two coats of paint instead of one. It's a lot of things that may be missed because the estimate itself is overwhelming, and for the average person to look over that and say, oh yeah, they're paying properly, it's a lot. It's very detailed, very broken down line by line. A lot of times with roofs, they'll pay for just a patch repair. But when you're thinking about your roof, if you try to patch a roof, you have to lift some shingles up in order to put that patch in. Well, when you're lifting those shingles, now you're damaging the integrity of the rest of those shingles because that has a seal on it. So you really can't do that. So if there's, you may not get a full roof if the there's no shingles missing on both sides. But if there's shingles missing on one side, then generally speaking, it should require at least a replacement of that side, not just a patch repair.
So you offer new home buyers a service after they get settled in their home, and for sellers that are looking to sell their home, but they have some repairs that they have to make. Yeah. Some of those repairs might be covered by their insurance.
They may be, yeah. So we can come out, if you're looking to sell and you say, oh, but I have this, and this that needs to be fixed, but I don't have the money to do it. We can certainly come out, take a look, see if anything, is something that is covered, something that happened, more recently that's covered by their insurance. If it is, then, it will take some time to settle the claim, but, you might be able to make out better in the end because now you have a home that's in good condition and able to be sold without having to negotiate because of repairs and stuff.
Large
like
issues.
So, yeah.
Dawn Hanson, licensed public adjuster with the Hanson Group. How does someone get in touch with you, please?
You can give us a call at 570-795-4045 or shoot us an email at dawn@thehansengroup.org, and that's HANSEN.
We appreciate the time you spent with us the last 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you so much for having me back.
No problem. Pat?
Yes, we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. It's at 190 South Main Street in Archbold for only $129,000. This would be a great starter home. It's got a newer roof with the 40-year warranty. It's got the 2-car garage, and there's electric and cable, so you can watch TV in the garage, and parking for 6 cars. It's got a large yard and newer entry doors. The exterior has been freshly painted, along with the foundation. There are 4 rooms with new carpet. The kitchen was also updated 3 years ago with new flooring, sheetrock, and cabinets. This home is owned by a real estate agent. That's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with the 2-car garage at 190 South Main Street in Archbold for $129,000, and that's listed by Sam Shelter of our office.
And we have a lot of pre-approved qualified buyers looking for a home, and they just can't find what they're looking for. If you're thinking about selling, give us a call. We'd be happy to help. We're out of time. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Remember to tune in next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on 94.3 The Talker.